Well, a very warm welcome back to Classic Dirt Bike TV, and a thanks especially to all the brand new subscribers who have just recently signed up to my channel. I think we're now only about 10 subscribers away from that magical 12,000 total, so thanks to each and every one of you for your continuing support of my channel. Now, I've just recently returned from a 2-day photo shoot at the Rob Hughes Classic Dirt Bike collection. Now, Rob has some of the nicest collection of CCM bikes you could ever imagine, and over the course of the 2 days we filmed, I think it was about 22 different types of machines, including of course CCM bikes, and you'll be able to see each and every one of those bikes coming up here on my YouTube channel very soon. But of course, until then, we're going to continue with more of those classic dirt bikes, and this time we're going to delve into the Terry Pickering Classic Dirt Bike collection, and in this particular video we're going to take a look at Terry's lovely Italian stallion, his TGM 250 twin shocker. Now, during the 1970s and the early 80s, there were a few small Italian motorcycle manufacturers making off-road race bikes, including the likes of Ancelotti, Motovilla, Aspes and SWM, to name just a few, although TGM were another one of the relatively unknown companies that were producing some decent race bikes during that period. Although it was in 1973 that TGM produced their first 125 motocross machine, and from 1975 became fitting locally made Italian Hyro engines into their bikes. Now, in 1983 they then formed a relationship with the Cagiva company right up until 1985, when they then closed down the TGM brand to form a new company called San Barnaba. Now, as far as I'm aware, this 1980 250 C80 model bike was one of their last twin shock machines that they ever made, because soon after they then changed to the more modern style monoshock rear suspension, and of course then added water cooling to the engine. But this lovely example from the Terry Pickering collection is, as far as I'm aware, an original machine from that year, although it's said that this bike has undergone some slight restoration in the past, but nevertheless a cracking example of one of these very rare TGM race bikes. And as you can see, when it comes to the Italians, nobody does it better when it comes to bikes with style. Now, these TGMs use this locally manufactured Italian Hyro 2-stroke single-cylinder piston port engine, and Hyro also supplied thousands of these engines to motorcycle manufacturers across the globe, and other companies including Ancelotti, Aprilia and even the British-made CCM bikes of 1979 and 1980 also used these Hyro engines to power their bikes. But these were still quite decent little power plants. They were quite rugged and extremely reliable, and were also used in trials, motocross and enduro bikes, and I think occasionally they were also used in racing go-karts as well. But with its 6-speed gearbox and gear-driven clutch, this little 250 motor was quite a powerful package for 1980. Now again, because this was predominantly a full thoroughbred Italian stallion, they used locally based parts, and these front forks are a pair of Italian-made Marzoccis, which once again were a very popular fitment on a lot of different motocross bikes from that early 1980s period, and they were even used on the British-made Cotton EMC motocrossers in that same year. But these were quite good suspension systems for their time, and with the variety of manufacturers who used them is surely testament to the quality and reliability of their construction. Now, once again, these TGMs used more locally sourced parts for their rear suspension systems, and in this case these piggyback gas shocks are almost certainly more Marzocchi suspension units. Now, these were maybe not the very best units that you could buy for a 1980s twin shocker at the time, but they did a decent job and were reasonably tough. Now, the TGM's rear swing arm was again a strong alloy unit, and the bike's front and rear wheels are the original Spanish-made 18-inch and 21-inch Acront rims that were fitted back in 1980. Drum brakes, of course, for this year, as this was still the early 1980s and just before disc brakes began to be fitted to motocross machines. Now, this bike's expansion chamber exhaust system doesn't look like it's seen much action, as it appears to be completely free from any dings or dents from previous track encounters, although the tailpipe is certainly the original part, and again it looks in absolutely prime condition. Now, once more, as you'd expect, a plastic fuel tank for 1980, as many off-road bike builders by this time were already making the switch from the more expensive alloy fuel cells to these much cheaper plastic affairs. But these fuel tanks usually held enough gas for this 250 to take part in even the longest enduro or motocross event, and they also had a bit of style with the TGM logo and graphics fitted along the side of the tank. Now, the TGM's seat was again quite a nice bit of Italian styling with these embroidered TGM logos on the rear, but I can only imagine that this would have been quite a nice place to lay your backside on when you had time for a quick rest between the bumps. Now, more Italian motorcycle parts here with this Tomaselli bar pad, and Tomaselli was a very big supplier of motorcycle parts in Italy, and they made everything from cables to throttle twist grips, although it looks like our example here is using the more popular Magura bike parts. Now, once again, evidence of the bike's wheels origins here with these very good quality Spanish made Acront alloy wheel rims, and these were very popular fitments on many motocrossers during that early 1980s period. And once more, the original plastics are all in fantastic condition for a bike that's now over 41 years old, although as you know, there are companies out there now like the likes of Hoblat, who can now bring back your old and faded plastics to look like brand new condition once again, and all the side panels, front and rear mudders and fuel tank on our featured bike may even have been through that particular process, and if not, then that makes this particular bike all the rarer, as it still has all its factory 1980 plastics. But as usual, the Italians do take a lot of beating when it comes to building stylish motorcycles, and that statement is surely self-evident here with this immaculately turned out 250 TGM. Now, what they were actually like to ride on the track, I'm not really sure, and I've never really come across anybody who has ridden one of these bikes on the racetrack. So, but I've always had a philosophy that if a bike looks right, then it usually goes right, and this little Italian beauty certainly appears to tick both boxes in that respect. But by all accounts, these TGMs had a good chassis, quite decent drum brakes and reasonable Italian front and rear suspensions, and of course a very good 250 Italian made Hyro power plant. So with that particular collection of mechanical parts all in one motorcycle, then it's probably pretty fair to assume that this was quite a decent little motocross motorcycle. So there you have it, another rare Italian classic from Terry Pickering's collection of machines, and look out for more of these vintage racers coming from Terry's vast collection of machines very soon. Well, I do hope you enjoyed that very brief look around Terry Pickering's lovely TGM 250 twin shocker, another one of those quite rare Italian bikes that you seldom see in this modern day. Now, of course, as soon as I get time, I will get down to editing and putting together those lovely bikes from the Rob Hughes collection that we filmed recently. I think over the course of the 2 days we filmed something like 22 bikes from Rob's collection, quite a few of them old classic CCMs, but also Rob has a few gems in his private dirt bike collection, and we'll also be showcasing many of these bikes here on my channel in future videos. So make sure you hit that like button, or better still, just subscribe to my channel in order that you don't miss out on any of my future postings. But until then, everybody continue to be safe and well, and we'll all get together on this channel once again to talk about more vintage iron right here on your #1 classic dirt bike TV channel.